Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be making this video for you. It's the video for March 29th, and I know that everybody's in such a different place right now, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and my true heart wish is for everyone to have the comfort and the nourishment that they need. I know that so many people in our congregational community and beyond are looking for comfort, but also reaching out in amazing ways to give comfort. So I hope that this video this morning is nourishing to you. I'll begin with the chalice lighting, and this is the chalice lighting that I wrote for the community during this time when the decision was made a few weeks ago to close churches' shared worship in physical space. So this is our chalice lighting for when we are physically apart. May this light of love give us comfort. May this light of hope help us dwell creatively in the present moment. May this light of truth help us act wisely for the common good. I'm going to start this sermon with a story, and it just so happens that the story I was planning to use in my sermon is also the story that Caroline Hines picked to do for the children's story video this week. It was the inaugural, the first Spirit Play online story that she made. I encourage you to go find that video and watch it. It's designed for children, but I myself enjoyed the whole, it was about 15 minutes, but I was pretty captivated the whole time. So she picked that story because it helps children who are coping in their ways, and I picked it because it has wisdom across time and place and age to help adults who are coping with complex and painful issues. So the way we'll tell the story today is that there were some blind mice living together in the jungle, enjoying the local pond each day. But one day something mysterious arrived and they left their pond in fear. Each day, one of the blind mice ventured back to investigate what this mysterious thing might be. And each day, each one came back to the group with a different report, but equally sure of what they felt. Each came back with different types of caution or encouragement. It's a rope, but there's no problem. It's a spear, it's very sharp and dangerous. It's a cliff, very confusing in the middle of the pond. It's a tree trunk, we'll be okay. It's a large flappy old palm leaf, don't worry. The mice were not sure what to do with all these confusing different reports. Each one of them knew what they had felt. Then one of the wise old mice ventured out to the pond and realized it was a living creature. The wise old mouse spoke and said, "Can you tell me what you are?" The reply came, "Yes, my friend, I am an elephant. Some creatures think my tail is a rope. Some think my large body is a cliff. My tusks seem like spears. My ears can feel like large palm leaves. And some have said my legs seem like tree trunks to them." My friends, that is the tale of how the blind mice in the jungle learned about many different parts of the truth, many different perspectives, many different feelings making up one whole. We too right now may feel like blind mice in the jungle. In recent weeks, each of us has felt different things, each a piece of the whole truth about this challenging time. For example, when we heard the call to stay home to slow the spread of the virus, we can ask ourselves, what does the word home mean? Some people are living in an institution against their will and will be staying there, virus or not. Some people do not have an easy choice to stay home if they are to fulfill their commitment as medical workers or food providers or cleaning spaces for others. Some people are in a stage of life where they are in between homes. Children may find home a safe place or not. There are so many truths to the reality of what home means. So when we say stay home, I wonder if we could replace it with be as safe as you can wherever you are. As another example, when we heard the mandate to simply stay close to family, we can ask what family is. So again, if a person is living in an institution, it's likely they were probably already separated from family. Or some have chosen to live in large communal groups or to live a life of solitude, such that family isn't a clear framework for them. Some families are living split, or in the process of splitting, or in the process of reconciling and rebuilding. Some farm workers are in the fields harvesting food, living in barracks, creating temporary family. There are so many different definitions of family. I encourage us to listen for the many aspects of the reality of what it means to prevent the spread of the virus by just staying with family. Now, as a third example, just as the mice experience different parts of the elephant, there are many different definitions of security. Is security a place for you to dwell? Is security a place for you, does that mean a loving relationship? Is security for you the knowledge that income will be arriving soon? Is security a sense of having a job, a role, a sense of purpose? Is your security a quiet place inside? During times when the world is shaken up, our notions of security may change. Surely this is a time when things can feel daunting. What used to be simple tasks might feel entirely different. How can we proceed? I'm inspired by a metaphor offered by the writer and spiritual essayist Anne Lamott. She describes a moment in her childhood when her brother was overwhelmed by a homework assignment. He was supposed to be doing a science project about birds. He put it off. He got frustrated. He did not know how to proceed. Her father watched his son being overwhelmed. He said, "Hey, buddy, let me help you. How about if you don't look at it as one big assignment, but lots of little assignments? Just write about one bird, and then the next, and then the next, bird by bird." And that is the title of one of Anne Lamott's books, Bird by Bird. I call it to mind when I find myself in a situation when I feel overwhelmed. Can I take things one at a time, one moment at a time? Indeed, this is the very essence of the Buddhist approach to life. If we focus on the past, our energy is drawn into regret or memory. If we focus on the future, we may be in fear or fantasy. But if we focus on this present moment, we have a lot more power. Quite literally, the brain and physiology can respond to what is happening here and now. And so I invite you, my friends, right now in the middle of this video, to try something. To look around you, yourself, right where you are, and find 5 things that your eyes can see and name them. Probably one is a computer screen. Perhaps another is a window. Perhaps another is a floor. Can you find 2 more things to name that your eyes can perceive? Next, use your sense of touch. What are 4 things that you can feel right now? A chair, Your clothing? Are there two more? Third, how about your ability to hear? Right here and right now. What are three things your ears perceive? Next, and this one might be a little harder, are there two things that you can smell? And finally, is there one sense of taste for you right now? This exercise is one way to bring yourself into the present moment. 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. Senses are in the present moment. Use this exercise anytime you like. Here is why I think it is important for us to understand right now about staying in the present moment, is because it will help us face pain so that pain does not become suffering. So listen to this distinction from the Buddhist principles. Pain that is resisted now has an additional layer that we call suffering. Resisting the present moment leads to unhappiness. No matter what is in front of you, no matter what you're sensing, try to accept it, but not to dwell too long in it. So not getting stuck, but changing with the sensations and changing with the present moment. So here's the thing. We're in a new paradigm right now. Things that did not make sense a few weeks ago might make sense right now. And that includes how your spirituality leads you to make decisions in your relationships and in your heart. This week I have heard some people say some things that previously might have sounded horrific, but in the current context are very true and real. For example, I heard someone say, "Dear husband, although I always told you I wanted you to come stay with me in the hospital if I was sick, please know it is different now, and I will be okay if I die alone." Whoever thought that it would be the reassuring thing to tell your loved one, you will be okay. You will be okay if you die alone. Certainly we are living in a new reality. Many of us. Some people may have already had to face that before. Here's the second one I heard this week. "Dear sister, although I always told you to ask for life support for me, now I've changed my mind. I'd rather you not ask for life support because other people probably need it more." Now, what sister would want to hear that? But we're living in a new reality where new moral choices are presenting themselves. And this is just in the medical context. There's whole other moral questions about access to food, caring for children. Each one of you is facing new choices and new realities. And so telling the truth can be an act of love for yourself and others around you. Truth-telling may be painful, but it may prevent suffering. Now, truth-telling is just one way to address pain. I want to name 2 more ways. We can also address pain with comfort. And this week I've seen comforting Facebook posts, I've seen comforting cards go out in the mail, heard about comforting phone calls, and heard about people delivering comforting food. I've heard parents describe new ways to give their children reassurance, and the discipline to save certain news until younger ears are no longer in the room. I've heard about school principals and school teachers who comfort not only children but parents by keeping a routine and celebrating the regular. I have heard friends comfort a friend whose relative died from the virus. Comfort soothes and eases pain. Comfort tends to basic needs. A third way we can address pain, in addition to truth-telling and comfort, is through generosity. This week I have seen generous donations to the church so that we can keep being a source of hope and sustenance for the community. I've seen generous and careful planning by church leadership so that we can safely host people in Summit House this spring who otherwise might not have a place to safely sleep. I've seen generous offers to help create worship on Sunday mornings, and next Sunday we might be sharing in worship with the Reverend Pam Phillips and the Blacksburg community. I'm so grateful to these ministers far away who are looking out for our congregation. This is my message to you today. Acknowledge the many parts of the truth, just like the elephant. Take things one present moment at a time, bird by bird, and address the pain with honest truth-telling and comfort and generosity. Blessed be. Let us have a moment of silence for reflection. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Please join me in a moment of prayer. O gracious Spirit, be with those who feel lost beyond finding. Help them to feel surrounded by love. Help them to know hope and renewal. O gracious Spirit of resilience, be with those who are exhausted. Give them flexibility and humor. Give them self-determination and self-esteem. Give them positive relationships and fresh energy. O gracious power of wisdom, be with our leaders around the world, in the nation, the states, the cities, the schools, and the houses of worship. Be with those who are spread far and wide, and help them to make wise decisions. O protector, creator, spirit, be with the children. Soothe their fears. Help them to grow each day with confidence and love, even while those adults giving care to them are making their way through uncertain times. Help us always to know gratitude. Help us always to know forgiveness. Help us always to know courage. Blessed be. Amen. I'm going to finish with a reading. It's from this book called To Bless the Space Between Us by John O'Donohue. There is no distance in spiritual space. This is what blessing does. It converts distance into spiritual space. It is as though the very idea of blessing was designed for the traveler. On the journey, the pilgrim will have to traverse thresholds that will test every conviction and instinct. It is especially at such thresholds that blessings need to be given and received. My friends, this is the end of this week's online sermon worship. I look forward to being back with you next week in whatever form it may take next week. We are in an unfolding new process. Please set aside your Sunday morning to be together virtually. Here is our benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. And honor all persons. It is finished in beauty. Return often to let your cup be refilled. The chalice is extinguished, but the flame of hope, truth, and love goes with all of us and each of us.